In a move that has sparked considerable debate regarding free speech and immigration rights, the Trump administration's recent actions against a Tufts University graduate student have raised serious concerns about the treatment of dissenting voices within the United States. Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish national, found herself at the center of this controversy after writing an op-ed criticizing her university's handling of Palestinian human rights issues. Her subsequent detention by federal authorities has ignited discussions about the implications of such actions on constitutional rights and the broader environment for free expression in America. Öztürk, who was in the U.S. on a valid student visa, was taken into custody following an investigation by the Department of Homeland Security (DHS) and Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE). According to reports, the government claimed she was involved in activities supporting Hamas, a designation that many view as an unjust pretext for silencing dissent. Notably, however, no charges were filed against her and she was never accused of breaking any laws or university policies. The lack of clarity surrounding the specific allegations against Öztürk raises questions about the motivations behind her detention. In a statement that has been both criticized and defended, Secretary of State Marco Rubio asserted that individuals applying for visas must not intend to engage in actions that could disrupt or threaten U.S. interests. He stated, "If you come into the U.S. as a visitor and create a ruckus for us, we don't want it in our country. Go back and do it in your country." This sentiment reflects a broader trend within the current administration that appears to prioritize a narrow concept of national interest over the fundamental rights enshrined in the First Amendment. The implications of this incident extend beyond Öztürk herself, as it signals a potential chilling effect on free speech for both immigrants and citizens alike. Legal experts have noted that the First Amendment guarantees rights to all individuals within U.S. borders, including non-citizens. Yet the administration's actions may invoke fear among those who wish to express unpopular opinions, particularly in politically charged contexts such as discussions surrounding Israel and Palestine. Öztürk's op-ed, co-authored with fellow students, was a call for Tufts University to acknowledge and take a stand against what they termed the Palestinian genocide. It also urged the university to disclose its investments and divest from companies tied to Israel. While the authors acknowledged opposing viewpoints, their piece was ultimately framed as a challenge to the university's commitment to free speech and democratic expression. Critics argue that the administration's reaction to such speech, particularly when it involves contentious political issues, illustrates a troubling precedent in the suppression of dissent. The broader context of this situation also reveals a pattern of behavior by the Trump administration that has seen a systematic attack on First Amendment rights across various sectors, including journalism, academia, and government. According to legal scholars, these actions threaten to undermine the very foundation of democratic governance by limiting the public's ability to engage in open discourse and criticism of government policies. As this situation continues to unfold, many are left questioning the future of free speech in America, particularly for those who may not hold citizenship. The Öztürk case serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between national security concerns and the right to free expression. As the administration seeks to assert its authority, the implications for civil liberties and the right to dissent could shape the landscape of American democracy for years to come. The outcome of this case may not only determine Öztürk's fate but could also set a significant precedent for how dissent is treated in the United States moving forward. In a whirlwind of events marked by military strategy and political controversy, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has recently concluded a significant trip to Japan, emphasizing the need to bolster defense collaborations amid rising tensions with China. However, this visit comes at a time when Hegseth himself is facing increasing scrutiny back home, particularly following a controversial leak involving sensitive military plans. During his visit to Tokyo, Hegseth met with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and Defense Minister Gen Nakatani, declaring Japan as an indispensable partner in deterring Chinese military aggression in the region. He announced plans to transform the existing U.S. Forces Japan Command into a warfighting headquarters aimed at enhancing the operational capabilities of U.S. troops stationed in Japan. The U.S. is moving fast to re-establish deterrence in this region and around the world, Hegseth asserted, underlining the urgency of strengthening military ties amid China's increasing assertiveness. This strategic shift aligns with Japan's own military upgrades as it seeks to fortify its defense posture in response to potential conflicts, particularly concerning Taiwan. Both nations agreed to expedite joint missile development projects addressing a critical need for advanced military hardware. Hegseth's visit highlighted the importance of collaboration, especially as the U.S. aims to reassure its allies of its commitment to regional security under President Donald Trump's America First policy, which has raised concerns among Japanese defense officials. However, while Hegseth was strengthening international alliances, a storm was brewing at home. A recent poll revealed that a significant portion of Republican voters, 38%, believe Hegseth should resign following a mishap involving a leaked group chat that exposed sensitive military discussions. The controversy erupted after it was revealed that Hegseth, along with other Trump administration officials, inadvertently included journalist Jeffrey Goldberg in a private chat where military attack plans were discussed. The fallout from this incident has not only tarnished Hegseth's reputation but has also led to broader calls for accountability within the administration. The public's response to this blunder has been telling. According to the same poll, 54% of all registered voters believe Hegseth should step down, reflecting a growing dissatisfaction with his leadership. The error has drawn sharp criticism, particularly after The Atlantic published details of the chat, leading to a firestorm of controversy. President Trump has dismissed the incident as a mere glitch, but for many it underscores a pattern of missteps within his cabinet. Hegseth's recent actions and the contrasting domestic political challenges illustrate the complexities of his role as defense secretary, as he reinforces military commitments abroad. He must also navigate the turbulent waters of public opinion and internal party dynamics. This duality could have significant implications for U.S. foreign policy and military strategy in the Indo-Pacific region. Looking ahead, the stakes remain high as Hegseth and his counterparts in Japan prepare to face the challenges posed by an increasingly aggressive China. The evolving dynamics in U.S.-Japan relations, coupled with the internal pressures Hegseth faces, will likely shape the future of military collaboration in the region. As tensions continue to rise, the effectiveness of these partnerships will be put to the test, and how Hegseth responds to both external threats and internal dissent will be closely watched. In a series of developments highlighting the complex interplay of politics and public health. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. RFK Jr. has made significant waves as both an independent presidential candidate and the current Secretary of Health and Human Services (HHS). As he navigates the tumultuous waters of his campaign, he is also enacting substantial changes within the HHS that could have long-lasting implications for healthcare in the United States. Kennedy's recent efforts to secure a place on the New York presidential ballot faced a significant setback when the Supreme Court declined to reinstate his name. This decision came after lower courts ruled that Kennedy had misrepresented his residency, claiming an address in Katina, New York that was not his permanent residence. His legal team argued that the address issue was irrelevant and emphasized that voters were not misled, stating the address on Kennedy's petition was and is entirely immaterial, both to voters and to New York. Despite these assertions, the court's decision stands, leading Kennedy to suspend his campaign and endorse former President Donald Trump while simultaneously seeking to maintain his candidacy in other states, a move that has provoked a series of legal challenges. Simultaneously, Kennedy's role as HHS Secretary has drawn scrutiny due to his proposed reorganization plan, which threatens to eliminate the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality (AHRQ). Established to combat medical misdiagnosis and improve patient safety, AHRQ has been pivotal in addressing the very issues that Kennedy himself faced when he was misdiagnosed nearly a decade ago. The irony of targeting an agency dedicated to preventing diagnostic errors has not gone unnoticed. with critics warning that the proposed cuts could lead to devastating consequences for patient safety. Kennedy's plan includes a drastic reduction of the AHRQ's workforce, potentially slashing up to 90% of its staff, while merging its responsibilities with the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluation. This restructuring raises concerns about the future of critical initiatives aimed at reducing medical errors, which, as noted in a 2016 medical journal article, have been cited as the third leading cause of death in the United States. Patricia McGaffigan, a senior advisor at the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, cautioned that these cuts could result in unnecessary patient deaths and significant harm to healthcare workers. In the context of these changes, Kennedy's leadership style is emerging as one that centralizes power within HHS. A departure from the more decentralized approaches favored by previous administrations. As he pushes for a more streamlined agency ostensibly aimed at improving efficiency, the potential consequences for public health remain uncertain. Critics argue that the elimination of AHRQ diminishes the federal government's capacity to address the complex realities of healthcare delivery and patient safety, particularly as new technologies like artificial intelligence become increasingly integrated into medical practice. The juxtaposition of Kennedy's political aspirations and his role in reshaping the HHS exemplifies the intricate challenges faced by public health officials amid a politically charged environment. As Kennedy moves forward, the implications of his decisions will likely reverberate throughout the healthcare landscape, raising questions about the balance between efficiency and the essential safeguards that protect patient safety. Looking ahead, the future of both Kennedy's political ambitions and the structural integrity of the HHS remains uncertain. As he seeks to navigate his dual roles, the broader implications of his actions will undoubtedly shape the conversation around healthcare in America for years to come. The ongoing developments serve as a poignant reminder of the crucial intersection between politics and public health, a space that will require careful navigation as stakeholders strive to balance innovation with safety. In a striking development within the ongoing investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced on March 31, 2025 that the FBI has delivered a substantial cache of documents related to Epstein's activities. This delivery follows Bondi's firm ultimatum to the agency demanding the release of the files by 8 a.m. on the same day. The Attorney General described the trove as a truckload of evidence, underscoring the significance of these documents and unveiling the broader implications of Epstein's notorious legacy. During an appearance on Fox News, Bondi disclosed that the newly obtained files were housed in the Southern District of New York, a detail she had received from an undisclosed source. "I gave the FBI a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything," she stated, indicating her proactive stance in ensuring the timely release of information. The documents reportedly encompass thousands of pages which the FBI is currently scrutinizing. Bondi emphasized Director Patel is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents, hinting at potential accountability within the agency. The Attorney General's assertions about the FBI's previous inaction have sparked controversy, particularly her claims that the Biden administration had allowed critical documents to languish unaddressed. No one did anything with them. And why were they sitting in the Southern District of New York? "I want a full report on that," Bondi remarked, criticizing what she perceives as a lack of transparency and honesty within the current administration. Her determination reflects a broader push for accountability and public access to information concerning Epstein's extensive network. The initial rollout of Epstein-related documents had drawn widespread criticism, with many observers expressing disappointment in the lack of substantial new revelations. Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida voiced her frustration on social media, stating, "This is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Get us the information we asked for." This sentiment reverberates through various sectors of the public, many of whom are eager for clarity regarding Epstein's high-profile connections and the extent of his criminal activities. In a parallel political maneuver, Bondi also directed the Justice Department to dismiss a lawsuit initiated under the Biden administration that challenged Georgia's controversial election law, Senate Bill 202. This law, which has been criticized as a means to suppress voter turnout among black constituents, was enacted following the contentious 2020 presidential election. Bondi contended that the claims of voter suppression were unfounded, asserting that black voter turnout had actually increased since the law's implementation. Georgians deserve secure elections, not fabricated claims of false voter suppression meant to divide us, she stated, reinforcing her stance on electoral integrity. The dismissal of the lawsuit reflects a strategic shift in the Justice Department's approach under Bondi's leadership, suggesting a broader alignment with Republican legislative priorities. The move has already generated significant discussion regarding its implications for future electoral processes and voter rights in Georgia. As the investigations into Epstein continue to unfold and the political landscape evolves, the demand for transparency and accountability remains a pivotal issue. Bondi's actions signal a commitment not only to addressing past injustices but also to reshaping the narrative surrounding electoral integrity. The coming weeks are likely to reveal further developments, particularly as the public awaits the detailed report on the newly acquired Epstein documents and the implications of Georgia's election laws on national discourse. In a climate of economic uncertainty marked by fluctuating tariffs and trade tensions, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is urging corporate leaders to prioritize tax cuts as a means to stabilize and invigorate the economy. Speaking at a recent meeting with the Business Roundtable, Bessent emphasized it's common sense to cut taxes, highlighting the administration's commitment to making the tax cuts instituted under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 permanent. This meeting follows President Trump's recent outreach to business leaders to assuage concerns regarding policy direction amid volatile market conditions. With $4.5 trillion in tax cuts set to expire by the end of 2025, the stakes are high. The existing corporate tax rate, reduced from 35% to 21% under the TCJA, remains permanent, but numerous provisions, including deductions for state and local taxes, are under review. Chuck Robbins, CEO of Cisco and newly appointed chair of the Business Roundtable, echoed Bessent's sentiments, stating, "You have got to do taxes this year because there's a lot of expiring, and if we don't do them, there's trillions of dollars in tax increases for the American citizens." Robbins acknowledged the changing economic landscape since the 2017 cuts, noting challenges such as rising deficits and interest rates that complicate discussions around tax policy. As Bessent navigates the complexities of fiscal policy, he faces scrutiny from various quarters, including concerns voiced by aim to address long-standing trade imbalances but have drawn criticism for their potential to escalate tensions with allies and adversaries alike. The upcoming Liberation Day, as designated by Trump, is expected to herald additional tariffs targeting countries with significant trade deficits, further complicating the economic environment. Analysts predict that such measures could affect approximately 15% of U.S. trading partners, with countries like China, the European Union, and Canada likely to be impacted. Retaliatory tariffs from these nations could amplify trade tensions, with Canada already announcing countermeasures against U.S. goods. As the administration continues to pursue an America First trade policy, the implications of these actions extend beyond immediate economic indicators, potentially reshaping global trade dynamics. Looking ahead, the interplay between tax policy and trade will be critical in determining the economic trajectory as the U.S. approaches the expiration of pivotal tax provisions and navigates the complexities of trade relations. The administration's ability to balance fiscal responsibility with aggressive trade measures will be scrutinized as businesses and consumers alike await clarity on the path forward. As Bessent and his team work to implement these policies, the coming months will be telling in terms of both economic stability and growth prospects for the nation. In an era where healthcare costs are a growing concern, the quest for price transparency in the medical field has taken center stage. The recent executive order signed by President Trump marks another attempt to push the healthcare industry towards more openness regarding the prices of services and procedures. However, as history has shown, The journey toward meaningful transparency has been fraught with challenges and disappointments. President Trump's new directive titled Make America Healthy Again aims to mandate that hospitals and health insurance companies disclose the prices they negotiate for medical procedures and prescription drugs. This initiative follows a similar order issued nearly 6 years ago which aimed to unveil the previously secret price agreements between healthcare providers and insurers. They basically went at the providers and the plans and said, all this data you think is confidential we're not going to make confidential anymore, noted Gary Claxton as Senior Vice President at KFF, a health information nonprofit. Despite the bold intentions, the actual implementation of price transparency has been less than effective. Instead of clear and comprehensible price listings, hospitals and insurers have inundated consumers with complex and convoluted data sets that are difficult to navigate. This has led to frustration among patients and advocacy groups alike. Most of the price transparency information doesn't have that, said David Cutler, a professor at Harvard University, referring to the lack of out-of-pocket costs information that consumers need most. In recent reports, inconsistencies within the data have emerged. The Peterson KFF Health System Tracker highlighted troubling instances of ghost or zombie rates where insurers listed payments for services that hospitals do not provide. For example, the same insurer reported paying varying amounts for identical services at the same facility, causing confusion and raising questions about the accuracy of these figures. United Healthcare, which reported 3 different rates for heart attack treatments at a single hospital, did not address the discrepancies when approached for comment. As the push for transparency continues, hospitals and insurers have expressed a willingness to comply with federal regulations, with the American Hospital Association advocating for a more comprehensive estimate that reflects the total cost of care and patients' actual financial responsibility. Nevertheless, the flexibility allowed in how price data is reported poses significant hurdles to achieving standardized comparisons. It doesn't seem to be that yet, Claxton commented on the reliability of the data. While some consumers have successfully utilized available price information to negotiate better rates, the overall effectiveness of such initiatives remains uncertain. Teresa Schmotzer, an Arizona resident, exemplified the potential benefits of diligent research when she managed to save nearly $3,000 on her outpatient surgery by leveraging price data found online. However, such cases are more the exception than the rule, illustrating the broader obstacles that average consumers face in navigating the healthcare pricing landscape. With the Trump administration asserting the need for rigorous compliance monitoring, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services (CMS) is poised to take a more active role in ensuring that hospitals adhere to transparency requirements. Yet the lingering question remains, will this latest push for price transparency lead to the meaningful change that consumers desperately need? Experts caution that while transparency is a crucial first step, it is not a panacea for the systemic issues surrounding healthcare costs. Katie Martin, CEO of the Healthcare Cost Institute, emphasized that understanding the flow of money within the healthcare system is critical but requires more than just price transparency alone. As the healthcare landscape continues to evolve, the implications of these transparency efforts will reverberate throughout the industry. Whether this latest initiative will yield lasting change remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the demand for clarity in healthcare pricing is more urgent than ever. As consumers seek to make informed decisions about their care, the industry must rise to meet this challenge or risk perpetuating a cycle of confusion and distrust.